Smart 24, driving business.
A very good morning to you today. Welcome to Smart Means Business. We are live on Smart 24 TV. It's always a delight to have you. I'm Kemcha Doreen. I'll be taking you through with my colleague all throughout until the top of the hour at around 9 or to 10. Meanwhile, before that, between 9 to 10, we will have Business Insight, where we do invite a couple of people to come in and tell us what is the latest, what is happening out there. Now, here at Smart Means Business, we get to give you the latest information coming in nationally, regionally, as well as internationally. And just to give you it's just a little bit of a hint into what we will be having. The undertone of this particular day today will be understanding the business challenge, the tax challenges actually today, those that impact upon the micro, the small, the medium enterprises in Uganda, as well as what keeps on ebbing, what keeps on impacting upon the confidence of different entrepreneurs in the confidence in the tax, and why is tax compliance still an issue? Those are the things that we'll be talking about. Is it so easy? What do they get to talk about? What do they get to say about it? Are they easily complying, or there is a problem? Some of these, we need to really get to talk about it. And then, of course, we will be looking at a couple of things coming in. Karibu East Africa, the regional news. We'll be talking about Tanzania, as well as the new electric trains coming in there, some good news. And then, of course, we'll also have a look at Kenya and what is happening to their customs revenue in spite of the finance bill riots 2024. A lot of other news will be coming in, looking at the international news. Morocco linkage to U.S. vehicle subsidies, and with Chinese. What is the role of the Chinese manufacturers, and what is their particular strategy in getting it? There's some very, very interesting news coming in. UK elections will as well hint on that for your information. Please get onto our social media pages, Smart24 TV Official or Smart24 TV as one word, and let us know what you think. You can find us on Facebook, on X, as well as different social media pages. Let us know what you think. We always get in touch with you. Let us know if you give us, if you give us your feedback, or particular areas that you didn't understand, or particular areas that you would want highlighted. Definitely we will get back to you in regards to that. Now let us talk about what is happening all throughout. We've had quite a bumpy ride when it comes to tax compliance, especially where the informal sector really is included, as well as the micro and small medium enterprises. These form quite a huge bulk of Uganda. Remember, 1.8, just like we talked about 2 days back, 1.8 informal businesses in Uganda exist, and these ones are mainly owned by women as well as the youth in Uganda. And these, of course, coming to think about these particular businesses, they as well account for around 90% of non-farm labor. 90% of non-farm labor. So you get to see that they do have quite a huge constitution of the labor, but also they have quite a lot of different contributions that they contribute to the economy. Now we have had different scenarios whereby you've had this cat and mouse game, whereby the OURA officials are trying to lure all these stakeholders within the micro, small, medium enterprises to join, register, get registered. If you are registered, well and good. Well, can you come in as well as can you come in and join the rest and pay your taxes? We need these taxes to build roads. We need these taxes to put their better health facilities. We need these taxes to make sure that your children can be able to access UPE, USE, but also as well as have so many different public services available to Ugandans. But now, one of the major things that come up as well is Ugandans asking, is it worthwhile? Is it worthwhile for me to pay my taxes? Yes, we've had the shrinkage, of course, of the economy in one way or another, just a little bit when it comes to most of the entrepreneurship, most of the businesses closed during that, others re-strategized and they're beginning to pick up post-pandemic. Due to the lockdown, it was quite a very, very difficult stage. And even during this particular stage, it is really still a very delicate time, because most of the traders right now, most of the entrepreneurs, the traders are still telling you that business hasn't picked up that fast. It hasn't picked up as much as you think it should have. This has been seen consecutively 2 times when children are going back to school or during the festive seasons. If you go downtown during that time, like most of our reporters have been covering, we have had reports coming from traders saying, you know what, buyers aren't there. And even when they come in, it's just minimal quantities that they are taking. So business hasn't really picked up. Now in comes the enforcer, revenue authority, saying, can you please pay your taxes? And they say, but what is there to tax? What is there to tax, and where do we get it? Because we'd also love to see it and pay our dues. Now we've also had reporters, had our reporters come in and say, you know, they've had picked up on sentiments with different traders or different investors or different entrepreneurs in Uganda, saying the government has to do quite a lot in putting in place an enabling environment. And of course, when they're talking about this, they're not just talking about those different policies that are already in place, but especially when it comes to enabling those goods to go cross-border. Recently, we as well had an impasse. We had a little bit of a rough ride with Kenya coming in and saying, you know what, your milk won't be coming in. That as well upset, because you know what, around 68 to 70% of agriculture is what is contributed to the economy. So this is a huge chunk, estimatedly put it at 70% of the contribution of the economy coming from agriculture. So when you do have that scenario whereby the milk is stranded at the border, and of course this is a perishable, that is a huge loss, not only just to the middleman, but of course to the farmer, to the dairy farmer. And remember, this particular sector has been having a huge boost. Very many dairy farmers have been told and asked to get linked to financing, but also to get the linkages for the inputs and all that, so that they can be able to boost. Now the gap actually that we have been looking at all throughout the last couple of months and weeks is the fact that there is a gap between what is being pushed. You know, a lot is being channeled into these agribusinesses, but also the farming sector, being told there is a lot of market. But when there is a bumper supply, where there is quite a good harvest, you find out that the farmers are stranded. Right now, currently, starting the last couple of weeks, the prices of cassava have gone very low. The banana farmers as well have been crying that the prices coming in are so low. And then you have that scenario whereby the milk truck was stuck. The milk trucks were stuck at the border with Kenya. So what can be done in regards to that? So all this when you get to think about it, all this actually impacts negatively upon the potential taxpayer, because they look at that scenario and say, no matter how much energy, no matter what efforts I put into it, I'm making losses. So what are you going to tax? and this is how it comes out. What are you going to tax? Yes, I wake up, do my part, due diligence, do my part as a farmer. You have encouraged me. You have put all these systems in place from NADS to Operation Wealth Creation. And now with the different programs down on ground, you are saying I can access. Yes, I am doing my part. I'm accessing the financing. I'm accessing the financial literacy. Yes, I'm boosting my business. But when I harvest, where is the market that you are talking about? Where is the market? That is a problem as well. So when it comes to tax compliance, you have little things such as that, which are huge, really, they aren't little. You have things such as that, aspects such as that coming into play. And you have traders, you have farmers, you have agribusiness entrepreneurs, owners coming in and saying, no, something must be done. Because I'm not making profits, I'm actually making losses, and right now you are coming in and you want to tax this. It's not fair. So we have very low confidence, especially in regards to the policies, but also the economy, and as well as the market and the way some of these are being promoted. Now, when it comes down to the other side of confidence, someone says, you know what, where you are saying you need the money, the revenue, to be able to put in place better roads. Where are these roads? You know, we've had a lot of comical satire, actually, a lot of satirical pictures getting out there in the papers with huge potholes and in most of and bad roads, and cars getting stranded. And unfortunately, when all this happens and there's a bumpy ride, the person out there will say, where is our money going? Where is our money going? Those are the different aspects, really, that get to bring down potential taxpayers' confidence. Because they will tell you, I took as well public service, I mean the health system. I took my children to the health center, and they were telling me there is no drug at all for me. I need to get some monies and go and buy. Or there is ABCD, this attitude in the medical staff. But bottom line, all that comes together, and you have the trader, the business person, the entrepreneur, the owner of the micro, the small, the medium enterprise coming in, or even the person paying income tax coming in and saying, you know what, there is a problem. I do not want to pay these taxes because I am not benefiting. So the onus is really on key stakeholders, really, to come out and put their ship in order. What can be done on their part? It's not just about coming in and putting all these different systems in place where you have to encourage others to pay their tax, but what is the government as well doing on its part? And when revenues are got, no matter how small they are, what do they do? Do they come down to benefit the person down at the last mile, the last Ugandan down there? Do they benefit? Why are we buying water? Why are people buying water in this day and age? Why are they buying medicine? Why are we, as Ugandans, buying medicines? And not necessarily the elite hospitals. Why in the health centers are they not able to do that? So when all these are maybe looked at and addressed significantly, then the confidence can go high as well. Now, this is going to be an undertone as a conversation all throughout this day. We're going to be talking about that. We've talked about confidence, not only just in the different policies, increasing the confidence of the owners of micro SMEs as well, to be able to have that impetus to say, I'm going to pay my taxes because there is something that I get to benefit, because I know it's going to be helpful. As long as there is a lack of that impetus, as long as there is a lack of that confidence, there is a very high non-compliance rate in regards to tax payments in Uganda. We'll have a look at a couple of other aspects as to why later on. But now let's get into press review, find out what's happening in the papers today. Your daily monitor, your new vision, get your copies. We'll just give you just a little bit of a hint of some of the stories within. UNRA, 21 agencies hit in new hiring freeze. The fate of thousands of employees across government parastatals has gone back to the floor of Parliament after the executive directed for the retabling of the repeal bills. This is quite something coming in. 1.8 trillion, that's UNRWA. On April 23rd, Parliament voted against the UNRWA repeal bill that sought to streamline the transfer and the functions of the roads body to the Works Ministry as part of my major and wider restructuring to make the government leaner. And then you have 61 billion to NADS. On April 19th, Parliament voted against collapsing of NADS under its parent ministry, MAIF. This followed consideration of the report by the Committee on Agriculture and Animal Industry and Fisheries. 31 billion NFA. Parliament voted against National Forestry and Tree Planting Bill 2024, which aimed at collapsing NFA under the Ministry of Water and Environment. This was after MPs scrutinized the bill, as well as NITA Uganda and UCDA as well as the Dairy Development Agency. A lot is coming in regards to this. Remember, we had REA get back under the Ministry of Energy. Lots and lots of people are expected to lose their jobs within this sort of mergers and getting back. So it's a lot is we need to wait and see what is going to happen in regards to that. LCs remain in office for another 180 days. The Ministry of Local Government has for the third time extended the term of office of the local councils by 180 days after it expired yesterday. This notice was published in the National Gazette and signed by the local government minister. Find out more. Your chairman is still around for some time. Good news or bad news, it is up to you. Find out what they have done for the community. Government imports 170 million litres of fuel as monopoly takes effect. The cargo ship carrying 80 million litres of petrol that belongs to UNOC yesterday arrived at Mombasa Port, with another vessel carrying 90 million litres of diesel expected to arrive at the same port today. UNOC said in a press statement yesterday that the arrival of this shipment marks significant milestone for Uganda as the first vessel under the UNOC's new mandate as the sole importer of fuel products. We should be having some good news coming in regards to that. I mean, like there is quite a lot of fear and concern whenever there is a price hike or even a price increase, or whenever the taxes point at even an increase of 50 shillings, because you know what, if that 50 shillings is there, like our border guys have been telling us, then you know that this is going to translate into an increase of 1,000 or more, and this will trickle down obviously as well to the food prices. That is a challenge. Okay. A lot coming in. Tricks crafty labor export farms used to beat control. Please find them all here. Get to know the tricks that are used. Drug stockouts, how patients are coping. Some interesting news that is really sad as well. The ministry has to increase the drugs that they send to health facilities. In these health facilities, both in West Bunyole and in East Bunyole in Butaleja, we went to there were so many patients, but there were no drugs, and the situation was similar as well in Budumba Health Center 3. This was mentioned by the MP of Bunyole West. Now, remember in last reports that have been trickling in, when the National Medical Stores was put on spot about why there is a stockout, it said in most cases there have been issues, especially not on their side per se, but on the side of the health centers, because in most cases they do not make the orders, they don't submit these replacement documentation in time. So that's what happens is you don't basically, and this is what the recommendation was, you don't wait for the drugs to stock out, to run out at the health centers. What you do is you do prior. That is what the officials from the National Medical Stores were talking about, I think late last year. I remember this because it was key. It was key to that, and they said the health center admins have to make sure that they place their orders well earlier in time, because they anticipate that the drugs are going to run out. Now, whether this is true, of course, the different health centers as well, facilities have been crying out loud and saying, you know what, we have been doing this for quite a while, but there's no change. And what is sent to us sometimes is not what we requested for, and sometimes it's just not enough. You know, it is not enough. There is a surge in the population in particular areas such as the islands and this, and when they do when they do request for some of these drugs, what is sent is minimal. So what is the truth about that? We should be able to bring you a sneak peek in regards to that. Kalangala leaders to secure land titles for public facilities, compensation hindering rural electrification projects. We are constantly busy with our projects. If a community is hesitant and demands compensation, we move on to communities willing to accept the project without compensation. This was said by Ms. Joanne Kayanga, the head of rural electrification. Compensation remains one of the major challenges in implementing the Rural Electrification Phase 1 project, which is set to conclude in December 2024, according to officials in the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. That is something to think about, and why is that happening? Some say that it is the high levels of poverty, whenever there is compensation coming in, that different community members look at this as an opportunity to actually utilize that moment and get some money coming in. Whereas others have cited and said that, you know what, when this infrastructure goes through, in most cases, we cannot build under those high voltage lines. So if I can't build under that high voltage line, surely where else am I going to go and build? Some of these concerns have been brought in regards to compensation, and this is why some of the community members are very particular about getting compensated. Now, when it comes to sensitization about the need, how is this balanced out for someone who has just one plot of land and has nowhere else to go, and yet a high voltage line has passed through? How can this delicate moment be looked at? It is very different. It's a very different situation when someone has maybe a couple of plots elsewhere. You can't go as well and build somewhere else. But we've had, of course, citizens come out, the project affected persons come out and say, you know what, this particular line, high voltage line, is passing right in my prime area, my prime land, where I had already planned to put my stalls, my shops, build my shops, because it is right by the roadside. I'm expecting that the monies that come from here will be able to pay for, you know, school fees for my children or something along those lines, and I have nowhere else to go. And the project is saying, yes, this is a high voltage line, you cannot build under. So how is this balanced out, especially in the social aspects when it comes down to rural electrification? The power is needed for development of communities and improvement of quality of life. This one cannot be negated. It is needed. But how are situations such as these handled? That's food for thought for you. Why do men die younger compared to women? Why? Why do they die younger? Is it because they are stressed? Is it because they do not seek for help? Is it because they die with their problems instead of talking to someone? Recently, we were talking about that in mental health when we invited someone to give us some insight. What is the problem globally? Get your monitor, your daily monitor, and have a look at that. Into the new vision, which still almost the same, but Cancer Institute to use artificial intelligence in treatment. In 2022, at least 35,968 new cancer cases were diagnosed in Uganda, and 24,629 people died of the disease. Among female, cervical cancer was at 33.8%, and breast cancer, which was at 14.8%, made up nearly half of new cancer cases. Cervical cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death for women in Uganda. A lot of sensitization really needs to be done in these particular issues. We've had as well questions coming in with people saying, why is there an increase? Is it in the things that we eat? Is it in the way of life? Is it in our exposure to maybe gadgets such as phones? What is increasing? And we've had these conversations as well. We should be able to look at some of these aspects. Why is there an increase. And of course, a lot has been put on lifestyle, the way things have changed. Yes, some good news coming in as well. Museveni hosts Laika Mobile investors. Museveni is really pushing, the president is really pushing for investment in Uganda. We've seen quite a lot coming in from not only just Chinese, but as well as the Arabs, from the Turkish countries. But these ones, the Laika Mobile, coming in to see the president. That is also some news, and this is hoped definitely that this will go through. More Ugandans lose trust in MPs, district leaders. That is a survey. Political party identity and trust. You can have all this information. Why is this happening? Because of the different systems. Poor delivery of social services was highlighted as one of the factors forcing Ugandans to lose trust in political leaders. Party leaders are selfish. Those are some of the reasons. Social services are poor. Mistrust is one of the key areas. And of course, there is very little response to some of the challenges that they do promise to rectify once they get into parliament or once they are voted into office. That is some of the feedback coming in. Chief Magistrate RDC clash over eviction of 50 families. That is coming in from different places in Masaka. Some news coming in there. Catholic Charismatic Movement celebrates 50 years. And of course, Nandutu case, police fails to recover 383 iron sheets. This is really a case over from last year, and still, it is still a hot cake as well. But here, it said that investors failed to recover 383 iron sheets that were expected from the farm of former Karamoja Affairs State Minister Agnes Nandutu in Mukono district. This was said by a senior police officer. Unfortunately, the iron sheets, remember, had been meant for Karamoja sub-region, and they were allegedly diverted by Nandutu, who is also the Bududa district woman MP. The witness also informed her that the iron sheets were relief items for people affected by landslides in Bududa. Some news. It wasn't good then, and it's still not good. Initiative restores hope for HIV positive refugees. A lot has been put right now on refugees. Let them not be a burden. That is the sentiment about it. Can we help them even as they wait for peace, even as they wait for mediation to take place? So Uganda, being one of the leading host countries for refugees all around, has been really involved in some of the different interventions really to enable them to thrive economically as well as in regards to health and socially. So here we get to see the initiatives, the different initiatives restoring hope for HIV positive refugees. We need to get out of faulty towers. China's education strategy can help Uganda solve unemployment. Why manufacturers are pushing for industrial bank? Because some of the other banks maybe do not understand or don't get a grip. Interest rates averaging 17 to 23 are too high. And these are some of the cries coming in from those in the business sector. Please get your latest New Vision for today, as well as your Daily Monitor for more news happening around the world. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after this.
Smart 24, driving business.
Luxury redefined at Seasand Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy, exquisite living quarters to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by beauty, our tropical setting allows you to rest in the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. Your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewing. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasand Hotel. So visit today at Plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasand Hotels, luxury redefined.
Are you and transform your business? Grow empowers you with access to entrepreneur services, accelerating your business growth from micro to small and from small to medium enterprises. Grow provides comprehensive support, including training, startup tools, business formalization, certification, networking opportunities, access to affordable credit and grants, coaching, and mentorship, with all resources available for free. For more information, please visit grow.go.ug. Contact the PSFU Grow officers at Trust Towers, ground floor, Plot 4 Chadondo Road, Nakasero, or the Ministry of Gender at Plot 2 George Street, Simba Manyo House, 3rd floor. Call us at +256 394 514 071. This message is brought to you by the Grow Project, a Government of Uganda project implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and PSFU, funded by the World Bank. Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Gentlemen, I'm crazy good. I'm going to go crazy. Flavors of Africa.
Enjoy your favorite shows anywhere. Download DSTV Stream today.
You used to tell me that I don't make you happy. All that time you would be complaining. I'll call you every day. Yeah, yo, baby, don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from the break. We dive right into Karibu, East Africa, giving you the latest regional news happening around us. What is happening? It's always an exciting moment to find out what is happening in the other countries around us, within the East African community, within this particular region, and how does it impact upon Uganda. We're always very keen and excited to give you that news. Let's get straight into Tanzania. Tanzania zooms ahead with new electric trains and express service. This was outed a couple of months back, but it is still very, very, because they are building up on what was a trial then. Tanzania has taken a major leap forward in its railway modernization efforts with the arrival of 2 new electric multiple unit trains from South Korea. The trains boast 8 carriages each and will be deployed on the new standard gauge railway route connecting the commercial hub Dar es Salaam and the capital Dodoma. The service is scheduled to begin on July 25th this month. The express train is set to be launched on Friday between Dar es Salaam and Morogoro, easing the travel time from 4 hours by bus to just 1 hour 40 minutes. The express train will leave Dar es Salaam at 6 a.m. and return at 7:10 p.m. From Morogoro, the train will depart at 6:20 and return at 7:30 p.m. This train brings to 4 daily SGR trips on the route. Regular trains with stopovers along the route will leave Dar es Salaam at 9:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. from Morogoro at 9:30 and 4:20 p.m. The Tanzania Railway Corporation said it would increase the trains based on the passenger numbers. Passengers are advised to book tickets on the firm's website or at the windows inside train stations 2 hours before the train departs to avoid congestion, said TRC in a statement. The travel speed is brought in. Tanzania has purchased 10 sets of locomotives and coaches from the Hyundai Rotem Company of South Korea. Each set includes 8 wagons with a locomotive at both the front and back and has a capacity of carrying 589 passengers and a traveling speed of 160 kilometers per hour. Tanzania now has 3 EMUs and the arrival of the latest 2. The first set arrived in April this year and has been used for test runs. Some good news coming in, and they should be going faster and getting some relief in away from the 4-hour journeys to something. For 346.7 billion or 1.9% of GDP to the exchequer for 2024-25 budget. The region's Council of Ministers has since allowed Kenya to charge 25% duty on imported mobile phones for the next 1 year, as opposed to the region's 0%, as it enjoys duty remission on inputs for use in local manufacturing of the same. Duty remission is a rebate, partial refund of duties paid on imported inputs, raw materials, or capital goods. Kenya has a strong assembly of electronics industry, including mobile phones. To further open up the ICT sector to more investors, Kenya requested for duty remission on inputs for the manufacture and assembly of smart telecommunication devices, including mobile phones, laptops, and tablets. This request was granted. Now we've had, of course, some up and down coming in, and this is interesting that this is able to be pulled off and pushed forward, especially with the different, especially in light that they had raised quite a terrible moment during that time. And of course, when this happens and you have in a place such as Kenya, you very well know that a couple of other things are going to come in. You had quite some departure by some investors, as well as other nationals who not only just left the country, but as well as said, you know what, let's first postpone and first just wait and see what is going to happen. Of course, the IMF and different international agencies were coming in on board and calling for calm and calling for redress and calling in for the executive to come in and look at some of these so that it does not, some of these issues that were being fronted, so that it does not get out of hand. The issue about it was if it gets out of hand, then of course it will take quite a toll on the economy. And remember, it has been grappling, Kenya has been grappling with a couple of issues within this period post-pandemic. Let's dive straight into international news and get to give you the latest in what's happening in other areas. International news. Morocco as a way to cash in on US cars. After the US passed new subsidies designed to boost domestic electric vehicle production and cut into Beijing's supply chain dominance, Chinese manufacturers began investing in an unlikely place, Morocco. In the rolling hills near Tangiers and in industrial parks near the Atlantic Ocean, they have announced plans for new factories to make parts for EVs that may qualify for 7,500 credits to car buyers in the United States. Similar investments have been announced in other countries that share free trade agreements with United States, including South Korea and Mexico. However, few countries have seen the kind of boom that Mexico has. According to the Associated Press tally, at least 8 Chinese battery makers have announced new investments in the North African kingdom since President Joe Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act, the 430 billion US law the US as well as the European Union coming in together to ensure that they put a leash on China. But talking about this as well, the dominance of China coming in, and this has been a concern not only to the citizens of the US, but as well as others, especially who have trade relations, good trade relations with China, because as they trade with China, they are also very keen on not getting into a dependence mode. We saw that a couple of issues were raised, concerns were raised in the US a couple of years back by the citizens saying that everything that I am wearing right now, from shirt to the undergarments and to the shoes, has been made from China. What is happening to the US economy, and where are our jobs going? Those were some of the citizens and policy analysts during that time talking about this. Now, when it comes to the EV, obviously, you get to know that the US as well as other European Union countries are looking at ways in which they can dominate this. But China, knowing how quick it is, has already taken off with that. And of course, this has brought in a couple of bans en route. But what does it do? It comes in quite well, very quickly, and goes in and brings an upper move and comes into Morocco, which is in cahoots as well with the US. So different strategies are there, and you have survival of the fittest in this sort of game. It is actually not it's a war right now for dominance. And let's see, we'll keep tabs on that and give you the latest on what is happening and why there are concerns in regarding that. And of course, we'll be as well keen on what the Chinese are doing to evade that net. Let's dive straight into this with some more news coming in regards to what is happening in the discovery. There has been discovery of the Giant Forties field, which is the beginning of the boom, which brought in jobs for the city and profits for energy giants and taxes for the revenue. There's been quite a lot of news talked about what is happening, what will the election mean for the North Sea oil. When it comes to that, what will the election mean for not only just the North Sea oil, but who is going to strike gold in this round coming in? Now, the discovery of the Giant Forties field was the beginning of a boom which brought jobs for the city, profits for energy giants, and taxes for the treasury. It fueled the rise of nationalism too, with the UK government privately acknowledging that oil had the potential to make an independent Scotland one of the richest nations in Europe. But North Sea production peaked 25 years ago, and in this general election, their focus is on managing a shift to renewable energy, including wind, wave, and solar. The UK's main political parties are signed up to reaching net zero, which means a nation taking out more greenhouse gas emissions from the atmosphere than it puts in. And that's where the focus is right now. But when it comes to the pace of change, they are being pulled in different directions. Environmentalists are urging the UK to immediately slash its production of fossil fuels such as gas, oil, and coal. Industry leaders, trade unionists, and local officials are all worried about the economic impact of a rapid transition to greener energy projects. The trade-off, the body World Offshore Energies says the sector added $30 billion pounds to the economy in 2022, supporting 200,000 UK jobs, including 90,000 in Scotland. If you stop oil and gas production immediately, says Andy, who works offshore, you'd bankrupt this area. The place would be devastated. This is how I make a living, he adds. This is how I feed my kids and put them through education. If I can't do that, then I'm struggling. But are oil and gas firms struggling? In 2022, after global oil prices were pushed up by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, BP made $27.7 billion, while Shell's profits were £39.9 billion and the highest earnings in its 115-year history. And the UK Conservative government responded with a windfall tax, a levy imposed imposed on companies that have benefited from something for which they were not responsible. The government was very quick to do that. It pushed the overall rate of tax on oil and gas production to 75, which will apply until at least March 2029 if the Tories win Thursday's election. Labour, by the way, wants to increase the rate to 78% and to remove some tax breaks from investment. Quite a lot coming in from there, of course, as well as concerns in regards to, yes, we need to move on to different alternative energy, energy areas, but what happens if you make that particular switch? There has been an outcry from environmentalists, of course, calling in, urging the UK to immediately slash its productions of fossil fuels such as oil and gas and coal. But remember, these were fundamental sectors that have and still have a contribution, not only just in employment. Now let's bring it on as well to the Ugandan context. We had the same almost environmentalists come in and talk about oil down here, and of course talk about the fact that a lot of biodiversity and a lot of the greenery environment was going to be degraded because of the pipeline, the oil pipeline. The reality about, as was being told, is that this had been put into consideration in the initial surveys, in the initial studies or the initial analysis that were done prior. But also when you get to look and compare and analyze the benefits as well and its impacts and how those basically translate into the economy of Uganda, was it worthwhile to actually come up and talk about the animals and talk about the different environment degradation that will happen with the oil pipeline going through Uganda? This is not just a totally copy and paste of the different struggles that happen worldwide, just like we have been seeing in these news, but this as well was happening recently and is still on as well happening in Uganda. How do you basically weigh this? Because it is not as easy as it is expected, whereas there is something to do. Climate change right now is so big, whether you are starting up a factory or just a micro business, you must take into aspect the role that you are playing in bringing about climate change and how this, what is your role? And you have all these carbon footprints and all that being out there, and companies right now globally as well as in Uganda are beginning to take, Uganda is really beginning to take in interest on that. But when it comes down to basic survival, how is this particular aspect being put into place? And this is where now all those different the credits are being put out there, especially for the country, for the different companies that say, you know what, we can't change right now. We cannot just close down this factory. This is employing thousands and thousands of people. This is bringing in a huge part. So how do we basically do something? Can we put aside some monies for conservation in the Amazon forest? Can we put aside some monies to do some good elsewhere? So apparently this is out to offset, to offset the injury to the environment that they put across. And this is happening often. I know what I'm doing. It comes into this scenario. I know what I'm doing is wrong. I know it is not, I'm doing the best I can to cut down the emissions. Maybe it's cars, maybe it is a factory in ore, or that's basically within an area that basically has of carbon emissions. But because they cannot change the system quite rapidly, what they do is they decide to put aside some monies or some so-called credits and to do some good. I know what I'm doing is not really, is this harmful thing in the environment, but what I'm going to do right now is to be able to come on board and make sure that I am doing my part to counteract the bad that I'm doing. So let me do some good. Now the challenge, of course, with that is that this cannot be, what is the parameter for measurement? Yes, we know that your emissions are this much as an industry, as a factory. These emissions are maybe this much. But how can you quantify that putting back the forest or building, planting those trees, 10,000 trees or 1 million trees within the Amazon forest is going to be able to counteract this? It's still not quite clear. There's quite a lot of gray area in that regard, quite a lot of blurred lines. And then of course you have those ones that come up and say, I have planted 2 million trees, so I should be able to as well be given some monies in regards to that. Not a lot of clarity in this area, but it is something worth looking into. That has been it. News coming in from Karibu, East Africa, as well as the international scene. Please get to know exactly what's happening in regards to climate change and find out your role. Actually, take an audit. Find out what is your role. Am I throwing that Kavera right now? Because if you are throwing that Kavera or even purchasing it, then you are contributing negatively to climate change. But when it comes back to that as well, I know a couple of Ugandans are going to say, but what is the government doing as well? The government had scrapped it off. Then after that, 2 minutes later, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months later, it died. It died a natural death. What happened? And that is where the challenge comes in. Like I mentioned, do we scrap off this Kavera, the investors coming in and building the Kavera polythene, making factories? What is the impact on the jobs of Ugandans? What is it? What is going to happen to the economy? Or do we get to look at the environment from a different light? Some interesting comparisons coming in. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda, yeah, I want ya.
My friend, just enter. Everyone now has all access to Pearl Magic Prime. Kasim, give this man some biscuits.
They're over.
But you see these people here, they are on good TV class, like you. But now they can watch big shows like Sanyu, or they can watch Beloved. They cry. So my friend,
Enduga Kyegegwa district. Kabanda sambaire ninkora omulimo gwa saluni mazire mu mwaka gumu. Kabando wa saluni narora agent owaito omukyegegwa yeja yampikaho yagamba aliyo project ebakweta grow gundi World Bank ebagambire kasero y'abakazi abali mu byara bena ama business gebyemikono babaleta kunu Kampala Malaika kusoma then babahereza certificate babongera habukugo bayene nayo naikiriza yampandika era nkasemerwa muno nizire hano mazire hokwezi kumu nyegere kukora za dreads zimbaire ntamanyire abantu babani bazinsaba muno ntakuzimanya naiga kukora makeup era n'abandi begere bankora uka makeup hati ninjagarukayo ngende musaluni yange nkore byembaire ntamanyire binyegire kunuka dreads zeze cyangu uyivu ezokora n'engaro then nja kusoma nja kubundafuna chance nja kutunga n'abantu abali mu cyaro abatakumanya skills ezitwegere kuno nabo mbarabiremu kugamba nko kubayikirize bakatusera bakatuhereza alyaga amagezi nayo ntagayikalira nyenka nyegese abakazi abali mu cyaro abandi baitu kandi hatekizibu ebintu bimwe bitwegere itwe ngaito mu cyaro haturi byena kamasanyarazi obankaki baitu mu cyaro cyaitu tigaliyo government we kutuyamba hekatera ya masanyarazi ntugisaba Kyegegwa tuliyo baitu tuina masanyarazi ekiriyaho government we kutuyambe katera ho mukone katera ya masanyarazi sakole bitwegere tutunguka business zaitu nzikurakurana kandi ekitweka nkisemera so ni malira kusima Malaika Institute kusomesa na begisa baitu na project ya grow na World Bank kuteka musente bebale muno.
Grow, generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises.
Smart 24, driving business. Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from the break. I love this moment whereby we get to insist on inspiration. You know why? Because you can be surrounded and you're clouded. When you're clouded in, you're bombarded by different things happening in every day. But what is your mindset? What is your perspective? What have you set your mind to? You know, these things matter. You don't get up in the morning and just leave the house with no clothes on. You'll get embarrassed. Likewise, you don't leave the house without setting your mind to fix your mind that you're going to be positive, that you're going to be able to take through no matter what the challenges happen in the day. So dress your mind. Let's have some inspiration coming in, some quotes, amazing quotes from those that have made it to inspire us and clothe our minds with resilience. Let's have some quotes. If I can change the world, if I can change the world, it happens with just one particular person. Basically, that is the essence of what was being said. If I can change the life of one person, it makes a whole difference, because behind that person there is a whole family, and behind that whole family, a whole society. And this is the outlook that really makes a difference in life. Is it all about you? Come to think about it, food for thought. Is it all about you, or it's about the people behind you that you get to impact? We have spoken to so many entrepreneurs. We have spoken to so many family leaders. We have spoken to so many people that have made a difference. Those that have made a difference have not been thinking about themselves alone. They've been thinking about others. In such a time as this society, whereby it is so individualistic, everyone is just thinking about what is getting into my belly, what do I. The I has become an I, and that is all they are focusing on. The people that make an impact, those that are resilient, those that get to move on despite the hardships, and those that don't think of the I, are those that get to think of what can I do for the better of others. It is the we that makes the possibility for those people. It's a very good approach as well, and it makes a whole difference in the way you do things. Try it out. I dare you. Try it out as a challenge. Begin to shift the focus from just looking at what will I eat, what will I do, to what will my children eat, what will my even if you're single, I know some of you are already coming up with ideas. Even if I am single, what will my future children do? What will my parents, what will my siblings do? What will those that live, that I live one day, what will they think about me? You will be surprised how it all turns up. You will be more resilient, and you'll get more satisfaction from the things that you do. Some wonderful inspiration coming in. I love these moments, because that's how we set it here at Smart Means Business. Now let's get back, just dive in for maybe another 10 minutes and get to think about the undertone for this. We were talking about as well those particular attitudes when it comes to your business that get you into a moment where you're saying, but why should I pay this tax? Why am I paying this tax? What brings about non-compliance? Non-compliance in regards to taxation. We talked about the fact that there is, I talked about the fact that there is low and low confidence. And even in today's newspaper as well, this was highlighted in regards to leadership. And this is also what comes out when people are talking about the MPs. You know, where are my taxes going? And we've had as well, we could get you a couple of clips whereby others have come up and said, they're taxing me when I don't even have barely enough to eat, but someone else is quote unquote fattening off and increasing their salaries every now and then. Where is their obligation? Where is their responsibility as stakeholders in this? Why is it that I get to have the brunt of to pay the price for others? And why is it that it is me that is being targeted? Now remember, the Uganda Revenue Authority looking at over 1 trillion to raise in revenues that are supposed to do some good in financing the budget. But where is this money going to come from? And this is why they are appealing to you to do your due diligence in paying those monies and not hiding some of your records. Be very particular about the record keeping. And this has a particular direction to it as well, because once you do pay your taxes, then we will be able to have better roads, we will be able to have better services, we will be able to have medicines, and this is what is purported, this is the ideal, this is how it is supposed to be. But the reality as well about it is that if you do not insist on accountability, if you do not raise your voice and come up and say, why isn't there medicine in this health facility? Why is it that when I went there, I didn't have ABCD? Why is there a stretch between Camden or this place, like they did before, and right now the Camden place I think is okay. If you are within the Camden area, let us know what your roads are like that. The reality about it is that the citizen voice is very instrumental in pushing some of these, even as we veer away a little bit from non-compliance of MSMEs in regards to taxation. Let's talk about the citizen's voice. Just as a couple of seconds, the citizens' voice matters. When they came up and talked about the citizens, the people within that area around Camden came and talked about that, it brought about more awareness about the challenges that they go through. So what are your challenges in your community? Do you have water? It's the dry season right now. Let's get to the basics, because sometimes even the basics are not met. Yes, the basic needs are not met. Within the papers right now, we were looking at areas that are in dire shortage that are facing dire shortage of water. Areas such as Kawanda, areas such as Jokolida and Matuga Mabanda areas. These are places where you can find water is shooting up from 400, 500, 300 a jerry can, I hear, to around 1,000 or even more in some areas. Why does that situation happen? Why in this day and age? And why am I being told that if I pay my taxes, this and this will be better? Please raise your voices sometimes, and we are not coming out. Some of you can get this twisted. You can get this the wrong way. When we say raise your voices here at Smart 24 TV, we mean, can you use the right social media platforms? Can you get in touch with the stakeholders? Can you come together as well and maybe 1 or 2 rally support for some of the causes that are out there? We do not look at violence to get your needs met or some of your issues addressed. We totally condemn violence, but the citizen's voice is very instrumental. So do your part as well. Do not keep quiet. Do not say, do not say, this is what happens in Uganda around this time of the month. No, you deserve to have all these services, top-notch, good quality services come to you. But if you don't talk, sometimes even those who are implementing, those who, the stakeholders, the key stakeholders, the key players may not get to know about what is happening in your community. Get onto our social media pages and let us know what is happening in your communities so that we can be able to have feedback and as well as highlight some of the issues that are coming up. Now, we talked about, of course, the confidence, not only confidence in leadership, but as well as confidence, the little confidence, the warning, the wavering confidence of Ugandans in the system, not in the service delivery, as well as different reasons like I've highlighted. All these bring down the confidence, and then someone questions, why should I even pay taxes? I will not pay taxes this year. Now, when it comes down as well, we have another part, the ambiguities, the complexities. We've had quite a lot of traders as well as entrepreneurs come up, business owners say, we don't understand exactly how this is computed. Yes, we don't understand how this is computed. Is it gross? Is it net? Is it why? Why is this happening? You know, and sometimes because the language, the terminologies that are used by some of these officials, by some of these enforcers, some don't even bother. Some don't even bother. Some of the officials under KCCA have been highlighted for using extreme violence measures when they are enforcing. And imagine having to stand in front of this very stocky guy and then tell him, can you explain? Can you explain to me? What do you think is going to happen? These Kanyamas will just lift you up with all your gadgets and take you away from wherever you are. But the reality about it is, if at all it comes to tax compliance, there has to be quite a lot of sensitization. Let URA come out, let KCCA come out, and have quite a lot of customer care services that are put within their staff, so that when they go out, they can take time, they can hold. You'll get tired when you're doing it one person by one person, but when you get a couple of them together and say, today we are within Chikubo, tomorrow we are within Nakasero Market, the next day we are within Nakawa Market, the following day we are within this stretch and this stretch. Let us talk to you so that you tell us, we explain to you, we clarify on the reasons. That is much, much better. Let these dialogues be as often as possible, because clearly when we come out there and our reporters come back with news, they tell us that people don't understand. It came out recently with IFRIS. Yes, no matter how much glory you may have in outing a particular program or a particular service, if the person, the target audience, does not understand it, they will reject it. If the target audience does not understand it, it will not work out. And I think this is what these key players, key stakeholders from the very top should really, really take a lot of time to invest in, and to say, before we out this, let us make sure that we are very clear, that we have heard the voices of those that we are trying to reach out to. Because when you do that, then you get better feedback. If there are particular gaps in that communication, you are able to rectify it as early as possible. Lastly, when it comes down as well to attitudes. It has been said as well, attitudes, some Ugandans have a poor attitude towards paying taxes. They just don't like paying taxes. This same thing comes in as well when it comes in attitudes about saving in banks. Why? There's of course a why, but sometimes poor attitude in regards to that. Why should I give you when I have needs? This money that you want to take away from me, 200,000 can do quite a lot of money for me. Poor attitudes and just thinking about the now. You are not thinking about the tomorrow. Can we change our attitudes? Can we find out what is our role? We are not just here per se as Ugandans to just float through life. No, you are supposed to live your life, whatever life, better. Live the society better for the next generation. Live the community better for the next generation. I know this is the ideal. There are a few sniggers that I can see coming in. That is the ideal, and maybe we should aim for the ideal. But of course, we have to push for rectification of the gaps. There has to be more sensitization. There has to be more accountability. There has to be more fairness. They have to come out and tell us why we have this route here every now and then with potholes. They have to tell us why we cannot access the ferry every now and then because it's broken down. Where is taxpayers' money? They have to account as to why we cannot still access medicines, why they're telling us to go for a Panadol or to buy gloves. Does that happen? If it does happen in your health facility that you go to, please report it. Please report it. We have systems right now that get to pick up some of these things. Please be very keen and very fast in reporting some of this news. Now remember, as we always do it here on Smart Means Business, it is individuals, it is national, it is regional, it is international news. Please do your part as well and come up and rise together. Have a personal, have a positive attitude towards the day and towards whatever comes your way. I believe you will be able to make it. This has been Doreen Kemcha. I've had such a delightful time taking you through today. And right now, we are almost getting to 8:30. We should be having Mercy come in and join us and tell us what is happening in entertainment and sports, what is happening out there. For now, until tomorrow, thank you so much for joining me. Get onto the social media pages. Let me know what is happening. Smart 24 TV official, as well as Smart 24 TV as one word. It's always a delight getting feedback from you. Until tomorrow, I've been Doreen. Bye-bye.
Smart 24, driving business.
Hello tech lovers, obviously we are back with another tech bite, and this time round guys, technology is getting to a bigger and bigger level. We are going from one phantom to the other. Now this tech bite, I introduced to you what we call the smart glasses. Guys, things are getting out of innovation spaces. You need to be at watch. For example, Mark Zuckerberg has already proclaimed his aim to one day ship a pair of smart glasses that does both, but also still feels several generations away. Can you imagine, guys? Now, Meta has invested over 36 billion in research and development in the metaverse so far, to seemingly little benefit. Now, for comparison, Apple spent just over $150 million in research and development to invent the new iPhone. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? Now, when we ask about whether the 36 billion could have been better spent on researching AI, a Meta spokesperson told Sky News that they spend money on AI and they have been working on AI for over a decade. So I think it's hard to quantify anything in that way. So following Meta's announcement of a new chatbot coming to its Messenger app, the spokesperson said they were confident they were keeping pace in the AI arms race against Microsoft and Google. I think we are just doing different things. That's what he mentioned, and he added that we are pretty comfortable with how we are progressing. Guys, alongside the Quest 3, Meta has also updated its Ray-Ban stories and smart glasses. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting on fire with AI. These do not project images, but they simply capture them. Now, 2 tiny cameras will be built in the chassis of the pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses, which will record the world around you without you even having to take your phone out. Now, this is interesting. You don't have to take your phone out to record whatever you're recording. Are you live on Instagram? Use those smart glasses to record whatever you want to record. Now, these smart glasses, ladies and gentlemen, they do not project images, but they rather capture them. Now, as I mentioned, the last generation of smart glasses was not a roaring success, with one report published last month saying that 90% of customers stopped using theirs shortly after the purchase. So Meta has come with a very verified version. Now, this will be improved cameras on the Ray-Ban glasses. Microphone chips will be built also on the Ray-Ban glasses. Built-in speakers won't only be just there, but they will also be operating for you to record thoroughly and efficiently. This will be enough to make anyone have an attractive proposition for content creators, those who love to make content. This is an opportunity for you to get yourself the new smart glasses. Now, with the Instagram generation family in mind, the spectacles now only shoot in portrait mode without the option of landscape. As someone who works in traditional TV news, I found it a shame to lose the landscape future, but the logic behind makes a lot of sense. Now, serial Instagrammers, serial TikTokers will appreciate the changes. Obviously, they will love these glasses, but whether the general public will or not remains to be seen. The built-in speakers situated in the glasses offered good quality music. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Bluetooth music. Playback, of course, which also looks at the heavy tracks during your content creation. Now, to me, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very good one for those who love to do content creation, those who love to do live Instagram videos, live TikTok videos. It's an opportunity for you to actually grab yourself the smart glasses. Now, in the world of technology, we bring you the smart glasses. Get yourself a pair and have yourself a very good tech week. Bye-bye.
3 inspired souls brought together by love are set on a life-changing journey.
This is your life, Mackenzie. It's no longer a dream.
It's just something about Mackenzie.
I'll never marry.
Your position does not allow you to break work relationship rules.
Where choices change everything. Crossroads, a brand new telenovela starting 25th June at 8 p.m. on Pearl Magic Prime. DSTV channel 148, GoTV channel 303.
Smart 24, driving business.
Name is May Nangobi from Iganga, tailoring circle Emyoga. I'm a tailor. I've been a tailor for the past 3 years. It's a privilege to be here in this training. We've been here for 14 days, and I want to thank God for the opportunity being given to us through our government, the URI, the GROW program. We want to appreciate all of you for the opportunity being given to us.
Smart 24, driving business.
Good morning to you watching. This is Smart Means Business and you're watching Sports Business, and my name is Masika Tsime. Glad to be here yet again, and of course kicking it off, remember as we were participating in the African Cup of Nations 2023, you remember that there are some of coaches that were laid out, and of course as we in some nations that include Cisse of Senegal, one of the renowned coaches right there that has led them to big aspirations in terms of football. And of course some were laid off, some were fired, some decided to quit on their own. And of course most nations, as they prepare for the FIFA World Cup, in the absence of their fine coaches, and of course looking also our very own neighbors we have Kenya and Kenya and Democratic Republic of Congo. And so we're going to be diving deep into the predicament that these football stars, these national teams are facing without coaches, apparently, but of course looking at the Harambee Star coach, that is Engin Firat, for Kenya, as well also resigned over delayed payment of his salary. So there are various reasons as to why some coaches decided to leave, some quit,